Hello, my name is Catherine Geddes, and I will be discussing my curriculum framework. The curriculum that I chose to develop a framework for is the first college and career readiness standard for anatomy and physiology in the state of Alabama. I chose this curriculum because it is one that I have used before and one that I will use in the future. And I also wanted to analyze my current methods and see how I could improve. The curriculum model that I chose to review was the LLC model by Dr. Catherine Manley, which was created with the goal of moving occupational curriculum toward a more in-depth, skill-based rapid response model. Those steps include analyzing technical content, analyzing academic content, conducting gap analysis, creating courses and modularizing curriculum, and creating common end-of-course or module assessments. The content standards that my module will address come from the Alabama course of study for the Anatomy and Physiology course. The standard states that the students will develop and use models and appropriate terminology to identify regions, directions, planes, and cavities in the human body to locate organs and systems. My audience will be 10th through 12th graders who have taken the prerequisite of 9th grade biology. They will have a background knowledge of the hierarchy of the cells and organs of the body. Their behavior and conditions, they will conduct themselves in a mature manner so that there's a safe environment in the lab experiments that we do. And the goal will be to show at least above average with 80% retention. The first objective will be to develop and use models to appropriately identify the anatomical planes and anatomical directions associated with the human body. So the goals and the outcomes for this objective, they'll be able to use appropriate terminology, they'll be able to identify the anatomical regions, directions, planes, and the cavities in the human body, and this will come from the cognitive domain in the levels of creating and applying. The second objective will be to develop and use models and appropriate terminology to identify the anatomical regions and cavities in the human body. So the goals and outcomes for this objective will be they will know the placement of organs and the organ systems within the body. They'll know the features of the human body and can accurately find different organs and organ systems based on landmarks. And this will be done through the cognitive domain with the levels, again, of creating and applying. The third objective will be to use appropriate anatomical terminology, anatomical landmarks, and models to locate major organs and organ systems in the human body. The goals and the outcomes for this objective will be to identify and evaluate the location of these organs and organ systems. They will understand that the human body has a hierarchical structural organization, and all of the body systems have a very similar unit structure where they start out with atoms and then it progresses to cells, and then from cells you have tissues, and from tissues you have organs, from organs you have organ systems, and then the entire organism that the human body is. This will be in the affective domain with the receiving level. Some instructional strategies that I will use when I was analyzing the tasks that needed to be done to provide a strong curriculum so that the students would be able to grasp the concepts for this standard. What I normally do is provide a blended lecture with open discussion. This helps me to know what the kids know, what misconceptions they may have, what they want to learn about what we're talking about. And then we go on from there in a very natural direction. I always provide a keynote with embedded videos. They love the videos. They're sometimes animations and they're diagrams, of course, pictures, to give the kids a really good visual of what's going on. And then formative assessment. This can be in the form of a quiz, of a short answer, any way for them to help give me feedback on what they are learning. Also, especially with this standard, I incorporate physical kinesthetics for learning terminology. So when we talk about the different terms, especially for directionality, I have them get up and we move. We do every movement, and then we associate that movement with something that they can think of, or something that they have a background with. So a lot of the medical terminology or the anatomical terminology are brand new words that they've never heard before, but they've heard pieces of the word. So we try to associate those with things that they already know. We definitely incorporate technology using, we have excellent online textbooks that have online cadaver, dissection tools. They have excellent animations, videos, things like that. As well as quizzing tools. Repetition, we use a lot of this with written definitions, flashcards. We also have a speed dating matching activity where they go through, we set it up just like speed dating, and they move around the room talking to different people. Every student has a term assignment, and they are describing themselves to the student that they're meeting with, and then they from there have to decide which one matches. It's a fun little game that we play. Quizlet flashcards are excellent. This is a way for them to also use repetition. They're not only do they have to write the definitions, the terms and the definitions, but they make flashcards, which is another step in storing that information. We use stations a lot for helping with the repetition. Escape room activities, they really love these. Kahoot, which is a really great tool for formative assessment to see what their strengths and weaknesses are. And then Quizlet Live is a good tool that I use at the very end, right before we're going to have our assessment, so that it's a good review and another formative assessment tool for me. For assessment, I like to do this in different ways. I like to give options for assessment. Now, of course, they have to be comparable, and so I have different rubrics for these different types of assessments. But since we have different types of learners and we have different instructional strategies, I think that different assessments are also called for. So some of my assessments would be written test. Maybe they could write a paper on a certain topic. Verbal presentation. A lot of times kids can tell you everything you need to know about the topic, but they may have a difficult time taking a written test. Other assessments, these are really, I've had really good results with these. Artistic rendering, they're drawing their diagrams themselves. They're developing these models, especially those artistic kids, and they are truly talented. And it comes out in their work, and then they're also able to show you things that they might not be able to do on a written test as well. A visual presentation is another way to do this. And then 3D models. We have, at our school, we have we have a class that is called 3D modeling. And so we can collaborate with those classes, and they can end up creating a diagram or developing a model themselves that way. In conclusion, I would hope that this curriculum would be able to be used by any anatomy teacher in Alabama, or any anatomy teacher in general. Of course, standards differ by state, so they may need to adjust a little bit, but it's always great to be able to collaborate and share ideas and methods with each other. We all think differently. We have had different results with different instructional strategies. So I would love to collaborate and see what someone else could use from this curriculum and then give me feedback and what I might could make better. And then here are some of my references. Thank you for your time.